Welcome back, folks. Before we go on, I just want to check on some sports stats, keep myself sharp here on the sports, and I'll use my computer and just go in here, and I'm going to check, okay.
Welcome back to Too Much Dip, a very special edition of Too Much Dip. My name is Dave. Joining me in studio, I've got Dylan and Micah. Hi, guys.
Dave, what's good?
A lot.
Yeah.
We just recorded a really good Circling Back, and now we're here. Going to do a really good Too Much Dip podcast.
I'm excited about it. Fun weekend of sports activities to discuss.
We had gloomy weather here in Austin, so it made for staying in and watching the sports, keeping yourself sharp for the sports. Micah, how are you?
I'm great because Cole Campbell has ended his self-imposed Instagram hiatus.
It lasted about 4 hours.
Yeah, and brothers for life, straight gooned.
What?
I have no idea what that means.
He's
but
posing with his buddy who has face tats, which is interesting.
Shouts to the phenom.
From the mean streets of Prince George, Canada, wherever the heck that is.
Whatever that is.
Damn. His goons got goons.
It's really good to be back.
Good.
Good to be here.
Guess who else is joining us? It's KJ from DeSoto, Texas.
Live on location, remote from DeSoto. Present in the building.
How you doing?
Phenomenal. I'm phenomenal. I think, it's fair to let the people know. You're listening to the words of a survivor. Your boy was touched by the Demi, but, it's come and gone. Our household has recovered.
You got the antibodies.
Boy, do I. Pants off all day.
Dude, are you wearing a cardigan? What's going on here?
I'm glad you brought that up. I was wearing a quarter zip, and I realized right before we started it was a little wrinkled, and Dylan was not going to let that pass had I worn that. So I scrambled and I realized I had a zip-up cardigan that was just sitting in my office for weeks on end. So that's what I'm going with.
I don't hate it.
Grandma sleeves and all.
So you just had that hanging out?
Yeah. It's just it was in the closet. Guest bedroom closet. So It's not in the normal rotation.
Well, it looks great on camera. I'm pretty stoked about it.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go.
The lines in this QZ were very
oh no.
Yeah. It was evident.
Kind of looks like it was balled up in Micah's drawer, and that maybe like a noted personality from ABC's hit The Bachelor might come do a podcast with us, and he would hand it to you.
Yeah,
good enough for Micah.
I would not have let that one slide.
No, it wasn't going down that way. Figured bust out the Cardi. It's not oatmeal Cardi season, but it'll do. Charcoal Cardi.
Guys, let's do something a little bit different. Did you know that we had a hotline?
Yeah, people are already calling it, dude.
A dip line? Dip tips is what some are calling it. 833-371-DIP. It's dip with two P's. 833-371-DIP. You can call in and talk about whatever you want. I think I'm going to play our first voicemail.
Oh, shit.
What?
You guys want to hear?
Like right now?
I'm going to play it live. I've not screened this, so it might
We're making
suck.
history.
If this is offensive or it says naughty words, I apologize if you are offended. You ready?
Ready.
What up, Daddy Dippers? It's your boy, Lil Dip. Would you rather play in the hottest NFL game ever or the coldest NFL game ever? I'll hang up and listen. Bye.
Well, that was really cool of Lil Dip to chime in.
Lil
First
Dip.
ever call.
And he called us Daddy Dippers.
That's a new one.
Yeah.
And I'm cool. I'm cool with it.
Are we going to answer the young man's question?
Hottest NFL game ever or coldest? Which one would you rather play in?
This one is really simple for me, being as a guy who does not handle heat, who will very easily get heat stroke, and I've been to the emergency room just tailgating in hot weather. So
Wow.
I might actually die if I play in the hottest one ever.
And we know you love snow.
I do love snow. I mean, getting hit by big, strong guys in pads and, sub-freezing temperatures, it's got to feel just really bad. I've never done it, but I'm sure it's not fun. But I have to choose that, unfortunately.
Big, strong guys in pads.
Football players, a.k.a.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't surprise me. I mean, we know you can't take the heat. You don't really thrive in pressure situations.
No, I'm talking like actual temperature heat, David. So,
okay, I'm gonna go.
People are gonna die.
Cramping.
I mean,
Cramping is a real problem.
I'm not concerned about cramping. I'm concerned about my body just calling time out and just giving up.
KJ, you are a former collegiate athlete.
Yeah.
What's the hottest game you ever played in? What's the coldest?
Or just practice then, either way.
Practice probably over 105, 106, even though, UIL levels, high school levels, like they cancel practice at a certain temperature. But I was never fortunate to have an indoor practice facility, neither at Texas Tech or at SMU. Those things were built after my time was over. Texas Tech did have a bubble, but that was mostly for track and field. So we definitely had practices out in 105. And having practice also in the winters out in Lubbock, I'm going to go with playing in the hottest NFL game ever. Strictly because your boy's trying to maybe parlay this into a pickle juice and like sponsorship and endorsement deal with a pickle juice proprietor.
It's not going to happen.
Peep me on the sideline, drinking some PJ, looking fucking tight as hell, not sweating because I'm, not cramping either. Just down in that peach.
Down in that peach. Plus, you can brine some chicken and air fry it afterwards.
You can brine some Nashville chicken.
It's true.
KJ, when you were at Tech, what was the temperature of the shed like?
The shed wasn't even built yet. The shed was built after that spring because they were busy redoing the fields with like AstroTurf and redoing the Jones with AstroTurf. I was there the last year they had the hard ass redoing the AstroTurf with field turf. So little known fact, my torn hamstring occurred because of all of that bullshit. We had to like take a bus to a practice field out in intramural fields on the other side of town. Didn't have a chance to stretch, tore my hamstring.
Oh.
Yeah, sad shit.
And people wonder how Pat Mahomes only won like 7 games there.
It's a miserable place.
It's a fact. I'm not
Micah?
trying to throw shots at Lubbock. I'm just
Remember
saying.
when Charlie Strong got the job at Texas and they made a big deal about how the players weren't going to take a bus anymore?
Mm-hmm.
They were walking from the locker room to the practice facility, which was like 0.2 of a mile. And under Mac, they had chartered buses to take them every day.
It's country club atmosphere.
Yeah. I think I'd like to play in the cold. I think the cold games are more legendary. The way the NFL schedule works out, it's generally you're going to play in the cold game in a more meaningful game than that. And you can layer up.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason why football's not played in the summertime.
It's true.
It's too intense.
You can't just take off your pads because you're too hot.
Yeah.
You know.
Let me say this. I'm also going to choose the coldest game ever. Only so I can wear one of those Tom Brady jackets where it looks like the Talking Heads guy.
Yeah, that's a good
suit
one.
Coat.
That's a good one. That's a good reason.
And like, most schools these days have like the heaters on the sidelines. You see the guys, the hand warmers, which they're a little bit too close to the sideline for my comfort. Like it seems like someone's going to barrel into it, and I don't know if they would spontaneously combust, how that would work.
Ooh, I have a very relevant question for KJ, actually. You see these guys playing in the NFL usually in these like freezing temperatures, and for the most part, they don't have sleeves on. Is this a pride thing? Because I assume in the locker room, like it's like, hey, we have like sleeves for you guys if you want them. It's gonna help keep you warm. And no one seems to wear them except for like a quarterback, maybe
punters,
like a prima donna wide receiver might wear them. But for the most part, it's they're just out there with bare arms.
Yeah, linemen, I definitely think it's a pride thing, but never would you have gone into a game and been like, oh, that guy's wearing sleeves, what a pee. I would say that it's certainly a discomfort thing over time. I mean, I'm sure you've all played around where it's 50 degrees and by the third or fourth hole, you're popping the QZ off. So like eventually you work up a lather and it's just not a big deal. You'd rather have no sleeves on and then throw a coat on or put your hands in a warmer. The thing that doesn't get enough attention is the way they built their the NFL benches with those posts. They pipe in either cool air or warm air into your helmet, basically when you put your helmet on that thing, and then jackets are sitting on something
sounds
similar.
Luxurious.
You don't necessarily need to wear sleeves if you're always putting on like a warm coat and a warm helmet.
Okay.
Interesting.
It's like
the
the
Judson boys would never.
seat warmer of helmets.
It really is. That's high-end shit. Speaking of cold, did you guys check out the Bucs and the Packers yesterday in what was fairly cold? Not absurdly cold for Lambeau Field, but it was cold enough.
Sorry to interrupt you. They
No,
did show
go ahead.
the clip from the last time the Packers hosted the NFC Championship game before the game where Jimmy Johnson at the pregame show took a bottle of water and poured it into a glass, and then by the end of that hour-long pregame show, he turned it over and it was frozen because the last time they played it was like 0 degrees, minus 30 wind chill. So it wasn't that bad this time. 32, I think.
All this talk of snow, there was some that they shoveled off to the sidelines, but the field looked completely fine, which is a little disappointing for me as a viewer.
This time they just had
snow
Terry
fan.
Bradshaw piss in a glass.
Does pee freeze?
I assume that it does.
Sure.
Okay.
So
Depends on how much beer you drank before
Dude,
what your alcohol content is.
Dude, frat on, good sir.
Yeah.
Fogs to you. So Tom Brady goes back to the Super Bowl as the Bucs beat the Packers 31-26. Huh.
This was just tweeted by Field Yates. I don't know how common knowledge this is, but I thought it's interesting enough to share. Tom Brady will now start in his 10th Super Bowl, of course, which is twice as many as any quarterback in NFL history. That's 4 more than his modern contemporaries, Peyton Manning, Drew Brees, and Aaron Rodgers combined. That is insane.
That is, yeah. I mean, I think we all knew he'd played in a ton, but just hearing it laid out like that, and the fact there's been a lot of funny memes about how he, comparing him to the Cowboys, his levels of success in the NFC versus theirs in the last 25 years. It's all very depressing as a Cowboy fan, but-
Which Super Bowl number is this?
10.
No, not for him. I mean, like the Super Bowl.
Oh,
blank.
55.
So he's played in almost 20% of all Super Bowls
Sammy
ever
Hagar.
played. That's pretty wild. Like we'll call it 18% of all Super Bowls.
We could do the math, I guess, but
That's pretty good.
Yeah, that's solid.
And he was perfect yesterday.
18%.
Definitely was the
that's
reason they
strong.
won.
you didn't like that he put up a Jameis Winston-esque 3 touchdowns and 3 picks.
And 2 of them
and
being
still
2 of the worst
being
picks you'll
waddled.
see all season.
Inexplicably bad picks, 2 of them.
It is crazy though when they showed during when he came out the first drive and they put up the graphic on half the screen where it says he's starting his 14th conference championship game in 21 seasons, and one of those seasons was lost to injury. Like that, it's just ridiculous.
By the way, almost as shocking as him being in his 10th Super Bowl is that how has Aaron Rodgers only won 1 NFC championship? Doesn't that not seem crazy to y'all?
And he's been
I
in,
couldn't
what,
believe
5 or 4?
Well, maybe if the organization
4?
he played for decided not to take a player in the first round and trade up for him who played 0 snaps all season when the guy he played behind was the MVP and he could have gotten some help, maybe that could have been helpful.
I'm so happy you went there because I figured you would. Figured somebody would. So I pulled the tape on the draft from last year. Packers picked Jordan Love 26th overall. The only other offensive player drafted in the first round, Clyde Edwards-Helaire after that. Other than that, also a tackle for Tennessee. That was the second tackle out of Georgia. He only played 3 snaps on the year as well. So neither of them are helping. So if you're suggesting the Packers should have, dropped into the second and drafted T. Higgins or Michael Pittman, I think the only one that's going to ring a bell that says, okay, hey, this would have been made a difference was Chase Claypool, who the Steelers took at 49. That's an argument to have that they should have traded back, but there was nobody else offensively for them to take. Brandon Ayuk had just gone off the board. Justin Jefferson and Jalen Reagor both just went off the board. And then they get A.J. Dillon late in the second, and obviously A.J. Dillon was useful, but he was their 3rd running back on the year. So I get the argument that they could have done something with that pick, but I don't think it was as cut and dry as hey, you took him and you should have taken XYZ because there wasn't anybody else that was a clear cut, this is going to help your team today pick.
Denzel Mims was right there.
Dave, stop.
He had a good year with all the turmoil with the Jets.
The
man.
Packers did
He went
trade up to
59.
take Love too.
They would've
I
gotten
don't know
worse than picking him 30 picks earlier.
why this franchise makes me angry. It shouldn't. I have no allegiance to them. I don't really care for the state of Wisconsin. I'm really not that into cheese in general.
Wow.
But
Whoa,
That's
hold
hot
on.
take.
Damn.
Dude, cheese is dope.
If I am a
Cheese
Packers
catching
fan,
strays.
I want LaFleur's head on a stick. This is a fireable offense. I want to fire the general manager. I want to fire the head coach. I want to fire everybody today.
Wait. What is the fireable offense here? The field goal?
The field goal.
Okay.
Yes. And
Okay.
we'll talk about it. But for some reason, the actions of the Green Bay coaching staff and front office really violently upset me, and I have no interest in
I
that
know
team.
why. Because it makes you think of something that hits a little close to home. Who also has a connection to Green Bay, one Mike McCarthy.
Oh,
who has
correct.
made some similar in-game errors, some might say. And it was funny. There was a lot of funny tweets going around about, like, you know, they thought they had moved on from McCarthy, and now the offense was flowing. A-Rod was loving it, and then he goes and does that. Clearly, Rodgers was not happy about it in the presser afterward. He didn't call him out, but he's just like, it wasn't my call, which is a fair way of saying, like, I don't know if I would have done that.
Yeah. Like I wasn't on board with the decision.
I wouldn't give the ball back to the greatest of all time with less than 2 minutes left and expect to win that
More
game.
than 2 minutes. It's just more, just
It was
over.
2:05 when they kicked the field goal.
Oh, yeah, there was a 2-minute warning.
And they had a full slate of timeouts, correct?
They did have 3 timeouts. I mean, we can talk about it now.
Yeah.
Even if they went for it and didn't get it, they would still only be a touchdown behind, and Tom Brady would be deeper in his own end zone, or deeper in his own end. You'd have better if you get the stop. You'd get better field position than the scenario
Right.
they went at.
Either way, you need the stop.
And you need a touchdown. It would be one thing if they were down 6 and they could have gotten it to 3, because
Right.
you always think if you got Aaron Rodgers, you can get down the field and kick a long field
But they
goal.
still needed the touchdown.
But they still needed a touchdown, and it's inexplicable.
Yeah, I think the problem here is you weren't playing to lose, or you weren't playing not to lose with that decision, and you weren't playing to win. Like, I get going into it and saying, hey, we just took 3 shots and got nowhere. But again, you're making a bigger impact on field position, as Mike was alluding to, by even if you got stopped, you're going to impact field position more. Unless you come out of that an onside kick, like, I don't think you're giving yourself the number of any additional opportunities to win by kicking that field goal.
What was the percentage, the win percentage? Did y'all go over this? Sorry, I'm doing an update. I think it went from kicking the field goal, they had a 9.5% chance, and then it just went up to 10 if they went for it. But I don't know if we've even talked about the third down play.
We haven't. We should.
Controversial, not controversial, but a lot of people thinking he could have ran it in there. I like his chances. He had JPP right there. I don't know who wins that foot race. He's just got to get to the pylon. I don't know. Either way, it's going to be fourth and short.
The thing is, he doesn't have to get to the pylon there. If he does run, they were at the 8-yard line. Maybe he gets tackled at the 2 or the 3, and then you give yourself a better chance on 4th down.
Right.
It's foolish of me, a dude who sits in a chair and talks about football on occasion, to criticize Aaron Rodgers when he's got grown men coming at him at full speed. But it does seem like that's a heartbreaking down. If you're a Packers fan, you're going to be going back to that thinking.
And I
that
saw a
could have
lot of
been
people on social media saying, "Oh, Jordan Love would have ran that in," which is a totally stupid and unfair thing
Come
to
on,
say.
that's not fair.
That's hilarious.
You wouldn't even have had him in that position, so that's just a dumb thing to even.
My issue with it is that I like Aaron Rodgers. He's a supremely talented quarterback, clearly top 2, top 3. None of this is, ground shattering things. It drove me insane listening to Joe Buck yesterday. Every time, like, who was it? Valdez Scantling came up early in the game. Oh, he was the previous recipient of a death stare from Aaron Rodgers. Like, they let Aaron Rodgers be an absolute bitch of a quarterback, of how he leads his teams and treats his wide receivers. They have to earn his trust and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, you wouldn't let any other quarterback like run around throwing tantrums like this, short of Tom Brady, and then continue to praise them and say, like, they're just, tough love. That's Hall of Fame quarterback. You've got to get in line. Like, Drew Brees never pulled any of that bullshit, in New Orleans. And he had every reason probably to do so with Michael Thomas. So I just don't agree with like the giving Aaron Rodgers a pass at every turn and saying like every other problem that the team has is anybody's fault but his. He's quality. I'm not saying he's the reason they lost, but shit, if you're 1-4 in NFC title games, like it's not always everybody else's fault.
Completely agree. A lot of the criticism is like, I don't know, based on how how Joe Buck and how pretty much any crew treats Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers for that matter. Nobody really wanted to talk about like that he was a little bit off yesterday. I mean, some people did, but I don't know. I saw a lot of people being pretty hard on Mike Evans. He did have a couple bad drops, but some of those balls were definitely Brady's fault. Those guys get the benefit of the doubt. I don't think Aaron Rodgers has earned that, to the same level that Tom Brady has, but I don't know. I don't really care. They're my favorite crew, Joe and Troy, and
yeah, for sure.
That. And guess what? We've just upgraded to the new Zoom, so I think we're going to be
that
good.
on the fly.
I did it on the fly. So if what I've been saying the last 6 minutes has not made sense, then that's that.
I just got the note.
Wow. Whoa. That's what I'm talking about.
Unlimited
Did
minutes.
it say unlimited minutes?
This meeting
gosh,
now
we can do
has
this
unlimited
forever.
meeting.
Good.
Unlimited
I've been
minutes.
saying we need to do like a Joe Rogan style pod. Just 3 hours of us talking.
Those are my favorite.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I got nothing else on this game. I went 0 for on the weekend on my dip picks. So
almost everyone did. I actually picked
bloodbath.
both the games correctly, but I don't think any of us hit our big boy stacks.
Nope.
And the rest of you guys, I think only one other person.
Dylan hit one game.
Everybody else was on the Packers except me, and I think it was 2-2 on the other game. Yeah, not
You and
great
Dylan
weeks
hit both
for us.
both at the afternoon game. David and I went over. One other note on this game: a lot's going to be made of the pass interference call that followed the third down play and the field goal. I don't think enough can be said about how piss poor the coverage and the positioning was by Kevin King, the cornerback for the Packers, right before halftime. Scotty Miller can absolutely run, so it's not like it's an embarrassment to get outrun by him. But to give up that pass right before halftime, you just can't do it. It looked like they were running cover 3. One of my old teammates who's coached a little bit, actually previously coached for the Buccaneers, broke it down and is on my Twitter. But it's a cut and dry play that you don't have to be fast. You don't have to be good. You just have to be in position to stop that from happening. And he wasn't. It's also the same player that caused the pass interference. So more can be said about Kevin King really costing Green Bay their shot yesterday. So that's the only other note I had on the game was that halftime bomb.
It's a tough scene getting burned by Scotty Miller, Bowling Green's own. How many people just learned who Scotty Miller was yesterday?
I learned about him the week before.
Exactly. I was like, I'm like 2 or 3 weeks in, I guess, whenever the playoffs started.
I think last week, yeah.
It was something we know about Brady. He can absolutely find like the short, white, overachieving receiver on the field. Like he's been really good at that over his career.
Troy kind of commented on that too. He said Tom Brady's made a lot of money for players just like Scotty Miller.
What's that mean?
Wes Welker.
Just go ahead and say it, Troy.
There was also in the late game. There was Cole Beasley's had a nice career, and somebody said, "Yeah, he's really done a nice job in that Wes Welker, Julian Edelman mold."
They just can't
That was
stop.
Romo.
doing
They
it.
just can't. Yeah,
Well, it's factually true.
But
they
there
are good comps, but
there are other non-white guys who play roles just like that.
Like,
Tyler
such
Lockett?
as?
I mean, there are a lot of
I'm
them.
fucking with you. You want to just go over to the Chiefs-Bills?
Yeah, let's do it.
This is my biggest disappointment of the weekend. I was obviously kind of riding hard for the Bills, thinking that this was going to be some kind of crazy upset, and wasn't even as close as the score makes it look. 38-24.
Now that muff punt at the beginning, they put the Bills on the 1, I guess, and then punched it in. They got up 9-0. That wasn't even enough to keep it like close. The Chiefs are just really, really freaking good.
You can't
turns
kick
out.
field goals, and you certainly can't miss extra points if you're going to try to beat the Chiefs. And the Bills did both of those things. And I felt horrible for Hardman. Is it Hardman, right, who muffed that punt?
mm-hmm.
I don't know if this is like a hallmark of an Andy Reid team, but Andy Reid, I saw some people saying it was giving Hardman a chance to redeem himself, maybe using as a motivator, knowing he would
He had a big
go
play
off.
soon after.
He did, like the next time they got the ball, I
Yep.
believe. I don't know if that was intentional, if it just that's how the cards fell, but that was cool to see because he looked. I mean that gif of him on the sideline, I felt horrible for the dude.
where he throws the coat up in the air and it just lands on his
That's
head.
hilarious.
Yeah, he threw his helmet down, then threw the coat over his face. It was funny.
It was all of us in 2021.
Well,
To
he
go back to
landed
kicking
helmet
field
toss
goals,
pretty
though.
great then.
Buffalo kicked a field goal on 4th and 3 at the 33 to start the game. Okay. Then they kicked a field goal before the half on 4th and goal at the 2, which was inexplicable.
What was the score at that point? Because it was 21-9.
That made it was 21-9, and that made it 21-12 before the half. And then in their first drive of the second half, they kick a field goal on 4th and 3 at the 8.
Jeez. Yeah.
Those are you just can't beat the Chiefs that way. It is one thing we saw in the NFC game too, is that Bruce Arians went for it on 4th down several times and showed some aggressiveness. So he's not going to settle for field goals against KC in the Super Bowl, which should add to some high drama moments, I would think.
Also, would like to point out when they were down big, they went for 2 that first time they cut, in the 4th with like 6.5 minutes left or something. Went for 2, didn't get it, and then it was still a 3-score game.
Yes.
Correct?
Yeah, they were down 17, and they went for 2, where an extra point could have made it 16.
I don't know what the analytics chart looks like there, but I feel like you kick
Yeah,
the
that
extra
was
point
weird.
there, keep yourself. That makes it a 2-score game, right? 16-point game.
Yes.
I don't know.
I mean, I guess the analytics would say you're going to have to score 3 touchdowns and get 2 2-point conversions. So you might as well get the first one out of the way. I don't know. It seemed reckless to me.
Sneaky shouts to their kicker, who seems to have a firm grasp on how to do an onside kick properly. Both
Quite
of those.
strong,
First one,
quite
obviously.
strong.
Yeah,
He
first one.
also hit 2 from 50 plus. That dude was pretty nails yesterday.
Yes, he was.
It was just amazing that he was able to do that, like with all the drones and flyovers and everything else that's going on in that stadium, for all the kicks to be flawless like he had yesterday. That was pretty impressive. That's a joke for like 7 people.
Oh,
but
yeah,
whatever.
I got it.
Okay.
I didn't see this note on Cole Beasley. This is news to me.
I didn't either. Claiming
Is it a hairline
broken
fracture?
feet.
What is this, Mike?
I've got the quote here. He said, Cole Beasley said he broke his fibula in week 16, quote, took a few meds and suck it up. There was no way I was going to miss a playoff
Fibula
game.
or femur?
Fibula.
Because those are very different.
Well,
Fibula is the one that I broke.
correct.
Which didn't,
Huh.
I recovered.
You did.
Femur's,
quite well.
femur's the big one in your upper leg. That's a big boy.
You break the femur, it's not good.
Yeah,
Are we
the
sure
fibula-
he wasn't talking about his album dropping or his mixtape? He wasn't saying he broke them boys off a couple weeks ago.
Wow, KJ.
Are you saying he's doing this to drum up hype for his mixtape?
The janky leg.
16, that was very recent.
Yes. Not that long ago.
Interesting. Yeah, he did limp off pretty severely at one point. I saw in the game yesterday.
He had a good game.
There were a couple plays that just showed how absurdly talented Tyreek Hill is. And then at the same note, why Cole Beasley's still in the league 10 years later with, whatever bag of tricks he has. Cole Beasley caught a pass, I think, going across the field to the right and probably had a good 4 yards where most people could have taken that momentum and gone outside or gone out of bounds. He planted his foot, cut back, and then turned the defender completely around. Ended up going out of bounds. Didn't gain many more yards. Tyreek Hill had the same exact play and added 45 yards to it. But it was a quick glimpse of being quick certainly can be useful in the NFL. Kept Cole Beasley from taking a big hit. Being Tyreek Hill fast is a whole nother thing. So it's just scary to think what a team with that position filled with the Cole Beasley, with somebody with the Tyreek Hill speed.
Yeah,
It's insane.
they showed a a field level real time replay of the Tyreek Hill play where he just took off. I don't know how you can even touch that guy in the open field. It's pretty unbelievable watching that guy play.
And I think McCole Hardman had a faster 40 time. They say he may be a faster guy. It's just scary how much speed they have. And Edwards-Helaire is a speed back too. It's wild to defend against that.
For a guy like me, football idiot, is it as simple as, okay, you're not gonna be able to cover Tyreek in single coverage, right? So even if you bring help or have you bracket him, that's going to leave Kelsey in single coverage, right? And he's going to kill you. So
And he's a
either
beast.
way.
We haven't even mentioned him.
Is it? And obviously you have best quarterback in the league, dishing out the ball. I don't. It just seems unstoppable. I know the Bucs have a better defense, but I don't know what you do to slow that down.
Hardman
Tackle.
ran a 4.33. Tyreek Hill a 4.29. So,
which doesn't sound like a big deal, but even that is a big deal. And more than anything, I think Hardman. I don't know his game as well, but I would question if the quickness is the same. Like if the 3-cone drill, if they actually ran those hard, that Tyreek Hill's wouldn't be.
well, Tyreek Hill did not participate in the combine because he was dealing with a
legal issue.
a legal issue dealing with beating a woman. But none of that's important. Football's fun.
I don't know. Well, I guess we can get into how and will the Bucs stop them next week. I think that there will be some time to discuss, like, how does a dynasty like this, ever be stopped? But the Emmanuel Acho tweet, I think, is also baffling about Patrick Mahomes. What was the exact stat there?
That Mahomes has never lost an NFL game by more than a touchdown, and the last time he lost any game by more than a touchdown was in 2016, I think.
And he got
Versus Iowa
stomped,
State.
though.
And he's played in 2 Super Bowls before ever losing a game by more than one possession.
That's ridiculous.
That's pretty
What
good.
does that do to gamblers? Like, anytime you see it, like, you'll never see a line over 8 points in a Kansas City game. There'll never be a 6.5-point dog or anything more than.
This matchup is exciting because to me it's like kind of a passing of the torch from like one GOAT to the probable next. You know what I mean? It's kind of. I mean, it just seems very cool. I don't know.
Yeah.
Very kind of symbolic. I mean, I wonder what Brady's going to do next year if he's coming back or not, especially if they win.
Maybe I'll need to go back and review it, but like I feel like through 2 games in the playoffs because they had a bye, right? They didn't. Play
No, they did not have a bye.
They played the wild card round.
Yeah, they've won 3 road playoff games.
Because he's not looked great in the last 2. He's done enough to win, which is kind of like a cliche thing, but like I don't know. I got some Peyton Manning vibes.
No. Let's be clear. He is the reason for their being where they are. I mean, how good were the Bucs last year without?
They were 7-9 last year.
Okay.
You're
and
right.
Now they're
no,
Super Bowl team.
I know he had a good regular season. I'm just saying. I feel like the defense has carried them a little bit.
The defense is
I
good.
would say that their offense, I mean, if you go back and look at Jameis's year, obviously Jameis threw 30 touchdowns, 30 picks. Was that the ridiculous
Something
number
like
he had?
that, yeah.
Balanced.
Their offense was successful last year. They obviously did not have Antonio Brown. And then I think Leonard Fournette is also an addition offensively, and then Gronkowski's an offensive addition this year. But Chris Godwin was exponentially more productive last year. But Mike Evans had his best year ever this year. So it's hard to say, like, Tom Brady's definitely the reason. But they added so many pieces defensively, and then picked up Tristan Wirfs at tackle. So they added a bunch of stuff around Tom that's hard to say, like, he's the end all be all. You add 15 more picks on their year, and yes, that's going to be a big difference, but they added so many other pieces I think are why they're winning these games. What Devin White's done, the fact that their line is held up. I think it's Leonard Fournette yesterday in the last 2 games had an incredible run. So they've got a lot of pieces.
Outside of maybe his first Super Bowl in New England, when's the has he ever? They're 3.5-point dogs right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm trying to think
I
of all
saw
the
the numbers
times-
gone down to 3.
Down to 3? I'm trying to think of all the times that Brady's been a dog in the Super Bowl. I'm sure it's happened. I mean, he's been to 10. This will be his 10th, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sure it's more than 1, but
If at all, probably the first, I would guess.
that was Kurt Warner? That was the
Yeah.
Rams?
Yes,
Okay. Yeah, they were probably dogs in that.
they were.
Interesting.
I think there was one other one.
Giant? No, they were favored obviously heavily versus Giants.
I do like 2 weeks of Tom Brady with underdog mentality, though. That could be fun.
He did put out another video, not saying any words, just smiling at the camera video. That obnoxious Tom Brady.
Is he good at social? I feel like he's good, but like unintentionally good.
His team is good at making him good at social media, I think. They were dogs in this game.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was being Super Bowl though.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. It'll be exciting. I'm glad it's these two teams. There's a ton of personalities that would likely have made a normal Super Bowl week intriguing, but we can get into that more next week.
Any thoughts on Tampa hosting the Super Bowl at home, the first team ever to be able to play in their home stadium?
Doesn't really excite me.
Has this happened?
No, this never happened before. It's also the interesting thing to me is that the Tampa Lightning won the Stanley Cup and didn't play a single home game during the playoffs, and now they get to play the Super Bowl at home.
And then Tampa Rays were
and the Rays made
right
a playoff
there, and
run.
that wasn't either.
Big year for Tampa. Tampa sports.
L.A. and Tampa.
Everywhere Tom goes. I think it's impressive. Obviously, since it's never happened, that's fun. But 22,000 fans will be allowed. 7,500 of them, they kept noting, are vaccinated healthcare workers. Like, okay, we get it. Emphasis on the vaccination part. But I don't think anyone's ever feared the Tampa Bay fans. So, of all the teams for this,
it's not
to happen,
exactly a rabid fan base.
Yeah.
They have a pirate ship though.
Does this still have that
New
pirate
Orleans
ship?
is the only host city for me to fear of this happening.
That's some hokey shit.
Just to confirm, this is only the second time Brady's been underdog in the Super Bowl. So,
Damn.
And it was that first one.
Chiefs lost their left tackle. Do we know? I saw Achilles. I don't know if
Fisher.
it's.
Oh,
Eric
really?
Fisher.
Yeah, I haven't seen official word, but all signs point to him being out for the Super Bowl.
He's a all-pro. He's
first
very,
round
very
pick too.
Oof.
I think 1-1, right?
Maybe.
I think so. I think he's probably, if you go back the last 10 to 15 years, the most productive or most successful 1-1 overall, and out of Central Michigan too, of all places. Kind of random.
Interesting. Yeah, we'll have more on that next week.
Yeah.
Did you guys, speaking of underdogs, happen to check out Dustin Poirier, Conor McGregor? Unbelievable.
I kind of loved it. As I noted last week, I'm kind of a Conor hater at this point.
You've turned on Conor.
I just think he's
Really
not,
should have picked
he's not
this
good
as my
enough
big boy snack.
to carry around all that swag like the way he does. And he got humbled once again. I
He
kind of
is-
love to see it.
You cannot debate this. He is the biggest name in UFC history.
But
He's
isn't
not
that-
the greatest.
Isn't that kind of because of his antics more so than
Yeah,
how good
I mean,
he is?
yeah, all of it. But that's part of selling yourself and getting to that.
He's a great showman. Don't get me wrong.
He had a great 2 to 3 year run. He was the original champ, and he parlayed that into an exhibition, or I guess it wasn't even an exhibition, a straight up fight with Floyd Mayweather.
It was a money grab is what it was.
Yeah, and he made $100 million, and the guy has his name on the marquee. It means pay-per-view buys, and that's a big blow for Dana to see him get washed out second round.
Yeah, this is a tough one because we've seen him lose in MMA. We saw him lose in boxing, but we've never seen him get knocked the fuck out. And I think it's safe to say we've probably seen the best of Conor McGregor at this point. He may still be a star, but he's probably not going to be the guy he was before. And you can give Conor a lot of shit for saying that he's all an act and he's a great talker and that's why he's so famous. He's also a lot of fun to watch fight, even in defeat. To watch him, how accurate he is with his punches, he's unconventional. He's fun to watch in a lot of ways. But yeah, it's got to be a tough one for Dana, and for anyone who has money in the UFC, I guess.
Yeah, this is so Conor's last fight, his last win was over Cowboy. Cowboy, who is at the end of his career. Dana's even said, you need to retire. He looked great, but Cowboy on plenty of occasions has been, knocked out like that. Dustin Poirier is a different animal. On an unbelievable run, his only loss is to Habib. And
We lost to Conor the first time, didn't he?
Yeah, he lost. Yeah.
yeah, I mean on this run he's on.
Yeah, that was at 145. Since he's moved up to 155, he's like 7-1, with the only loss being to Khabib.
And he's beat some of like the best names in the sport: Max Holloway, Eddie Alvarez. Justin Gaethje. It's insane. But Lafayette's own, man, DP Dustin Poirier. That was impressive. He seems like a good dude. It was weird going into the fight because much like he did for the Cowboy fight, Conor was very respectful of his opponent, gave the old, the classic, I'm honored to share the octagon with him, all that stuff. I think he donated a bunch of money to Dustin Poirier's foundation.
$500,000.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's very, Conor has a lot of bad PR that I feel like doesn't get talked about, like a lot of stuff overseas, like allegations and whatnot. He's clearly made an effort to, act more humble. It'll be interesting to see how he comes back. Either way, Dustin Poirier chewed his leg up with leg kicks, rendered Conor pretty much useless on striking. He couldn't throw a punch, and he couldn't move, man. Conor didn't check any of those kicks, and I think he said he broke his leg. I don't know if it was
after
actually
the fight,
a fracture.
they showed them backstage, and he said, "You broke my leg, you bastard." So I don't know exactly. Everybody's getting their leg broke these
The
days.
whole
Femur or
squad,
fibula?
femur.
Hard to say. Hard to say. Yeah, one thing Conor's really good at, though, is creating a narrative after a loss, really after any fight. But, like, he said 5 or 6 times in the press conference, well, he was really good at those leg kicks. I didn't see those leg kicks coming. And so he will create a narrative that, there can be a third fight. I'll neutralize the leg kicks. That's one I'd pay to see again.
I don't know why he didn't. It's easy for me to say as a guy who's never gotten in an octagon that he should have just checked those kicks like after the first couple, because clearly DP was having success with them and that was part of their game plan. I don't understand why he didn't make some kind of adjustment. Like he acted like he wasn't going to change anything. Like I know he doesn't ever really switch stances like that, but I thought that was surprising. It was like
I wonder if there's an element of you don't want to show him that it's working. You know what I mean?
That's true.
Like if you know, hey, this is affecting me, like as soon as you go to guard it, like he's going to work on whatever counter he has and then continue to come back to that. So, I didn't see the fight, so I'm just talking out of my ass here. Extra anecdote here. My father-in-law is currently in Dublin, lives there for a portion of it each year. And going into the fight, Dublin and Ireland in general apparently are on full lockdown due to COVID. So you can't go to a pub or to bar and watch anything, but they're still marketing and talking on every channel and then posters up everywhere ahead of the fight. And he said as the fight was over and once it was locked in that Conor had lost or whatever, and the fight was decided, that people were still just as supportive and loud and talking about it and focused on it. So we were talking about some of his bad PR overseas and some of the stuff he's dealing with there. It hasn't really affected his brand. It doesn't sound like a loss will either there.
Yeah, I guess that doesn't completely surprise me.
Yeah.
I didn't like seeing Conor walk out to 5,000 fans.
That's another narrative that he can paint. The next time, say, I'm a man of the people. I need the crowd. It's a built-in excuse there.
No,
but I agree with you. It's not as much fun.
No, this part of the spectacle is the 20,000 just blacked out Irishmen with flags draped over them in the crowd, just pissing themselves, yelling at Conor as he walks out.
Yeah, that's not easy to do in Abu Dhabi.
No, it's not. Although it did sound like he had a lot of guys there. There was whatever the chant is they do. I heard that break out.
Should I care about the guy who tried to give his bracelet away? Got fired on the spot.
What happened? I missed this.
So earlier in the week, I think it was Thursday or Friday, Dana cut one of the fighters from the card and cut him from the UFC. He's 13-0 too. He's and his brother's a UFC fighter, because apparently him and his whole team on video, according to Dana, cut their security wristbands they have to have for COVID protocols. Gave one to some dude who Spider-Man climbed over 4 different balconies to deliver a mystery bag of something.
What the hell?
And Dana was like, we have this whole thing on video. He is not only not on this card, he's been cut from the UFC.
He secured the bag.
He did secure the bag. Of what? We don't know.
Okay, so I was going to ask. We don't know what's in the bag, huh? Okay.
What you got in that bag?
What you got in that bag?
You think it was Jolt Cola or something?
Hard to say.
I just figure you don't need to.
That could be contraband in Abu Dhabi. I don't know the rules.
You don't need to ninja that into the arena. I don't think you can just probably other ways that get Jolt in there.
Dude, there's a ton of caffeine. I don't even know if it's legal in Abu Dhabi.
There's too much caffeine. You don't need that much.
It's way too much. It's the official soda pop of sleepovers. We got to talk about Mizzou's own Michael Chandler.
Huge.
How happy were you? Did you cry?
I didn't cry, but I was hyped. I think I scared the people I was watching the fight with, being my fiance and Will and Sally.
I'm not going to act like I've watched a ton of Michael Chandler fights. In fact, I've watched a total of 0. He was a beast in Bellator, and now he's here. His first fight,
I've watched him quite a bit. He was a 3-time champion at 155 in Bellator. He's got a terrible tattoo that says "blessed" on his left, chest. But he came out with a lot of power and stopped.
He's a little guy.
Stopped Dan Hooker, who's never been stopped by strikes before, as well, and just looked awesome. Hit the backflip afterwards, and as a fellow I'm a former professional fighter who's fought Bellator fighters before. Michael Chandler spent a lot of time fighting Bellator, and we both went to Mizzou, so we have a lot in common. I was happy for him and his whole family, and his wife, who was dressed in a provocative manner.
Where do you stand on the backflip? Because Dana White apparently hates it.
I hate it too.
He didn't land it perfectly either.
No, dude. And when it's slowed down, it feels like he's just inches away from just blowing out both knees.
Yeah, but I will say this: I watched it with my fiance and with Sally, and they both were like, "Oh my God, he did a backflip! Wow!" Like he's their new favorite fighter. So from a mainstream perspective, it's good. It's like fellow Missourian Carl Edwards was known for hitting a backflip.
Did he do it from the top of the octagon, or just?
Yeah, he jumped up on the top of the octagon,
that's too much.
Hit a backflip.
That scares me.
Do you prefer the top of the octagon backflip or the full pads backflip in the end zone?
The octagon one is, I think, decidedly more dangerous, right? Because you're dropping from how tall is that thing? 8 feet?
It's some Superfly Jimmy Snuka shit.
Yeah, it's too much. But doing a backflip on the ground in full pads, which I think weighs like 20 plus pounds altogether, that's impressive.
That's better than trying to do the worm and then blowing out your shoulder like somebody did the last couple of years. Who was it? Who's the dude?
Celebratory injuries are always funny.
Yeah, I mean, he won the fight and then decided to do the worm and, fucked his shit up.
My favorite is, I think,
Johnny Walker, I believe it was.
one of the Grammatica brothers. I think maybe Bill.
It was Bill, yeah.
Who tore an ACL, I think, just, jumping.
Celebrating a 35-yard field goal. That was the best part.
I blew my shit out hitting the stanky leg.
The Grammatica brothers, they weighed like 210 total, added up together.
Martine and Bill.
Very small.
The octagon is 6 feet tall, by the way.
Okay.
I found Michael Chandler's wife, and the results will not shock you.
She's ugly.
She's just, what's the opposite of ugly?
Pretty.
Who else is in 155 division here?
It's the best division in the game.
Yeah, that's the only, from a promoter standpoint.
Justin Gagey.
You're disappointed Conor got beat, but wow, there are some big fights to be made at 155 now.
Yeah. I don't know who you want. We've already seen Dustin Poirier against the now retired Khabib. Don't really want to see that fight again. So I don't know who you put him in there against. Michael Chandler, small, but he can move up and fight at that. I don't know. Or they probably DP would probably drop down, right?
No, I think it would be at 55. But Poirier said he doesn't think Chandler's ready for that. He doesn't deserve it yet. So I forget who the number 2 ranked guy is, but there is somebody there, and it could be for the interim belt if Khabib's not coming back. And Dana all week was just talking about how Khabib's not retired, Khabib's not retired, Khabib's not retired. After the fight, he was like, "Oh, I don't see Khabib coming back." It was pretty clear that Khabib wanted to see Conor and make another $100 million or $30 million or whatever it was.
I'm actually glad that we don't have to see that again because I don't want to see Conor humiliated again like that.
I don't need it either.
That was pretty sad. Michael Chandler, our 5'8" king. Shout out to him. A lot of fun. Anything else on the Combat Sports Minute?
No, David.
The only thing I would add is that ESPN Plus can EAD.
My God. Burying the lead.
I tried to pay for this fight. I really did, and ended up, thanks to, I won't mention who gave me the link, unless that person who's saying here wants to reveal himself. But
Randy.
Shouts to Buff Streams, who we had a great feed for the fight. But I was trying to spend $70 on it.
The irony of it's beautiful. I mean, Dana's crusade against the streamers and the pirated streams. He's going to throw he's going to do all he can to.
Oh, didn't he have something special planned for the?
Oh yeah. And I guess by that he meant
I've been listening to the guys.
ESPN Plus.
I mean, the quote that he had earlier in the week, how he's found the guy who does the pirating, the guy. We've got a camera on his house. We've been listening to his phone calls.
What?
And then as soon as they turn it on, we're going to nail him. I'm like, Dana, I think that's some sort of violation. You really shouldn't be admitting to breaking into somebody's phone connections.
You shouldn't tell the guy that you're trying to catch that you've got him where you want him.
I think he had the whole thing made up because he's making sure that everyone who thinks they're pirating Dana White's listening to their phone calls. I don't know. But then when ESPN Plus doesn't work, it's just egg on his face. It's really, really bad look.
Yeah, I missed the first 2 fights completely. At least on the ESPN Plus app, because I ordered it earlier in the day. I saw some people saying that, I just talked to their customer service. You have to be watching it on the device that you signed up for ESPN Plus on. And I'm like, dude, what?
Bullshit.
I couldn't tell you what device I signed up.
Could have gotten rid of that computer 2 years ago.
Exactly. It's insane. They should apologize. I need to go put in a thing for a partial refund. I did watch the main event on there, but missed a couple fights. It's not fun. I don't like to support the pirates.
Yeah, me neither. I don't want my computer to catch fire. I've spent enough time fighting with AT&T Uverse about lack of red zone. I've spent too much time with the buff streams and crack streams this season.
What if they would throw us a sponsorship? I want to be one of those pop-ups that when you go on there and you click the wrong spot.
Just the most invasive pop-ups on the internet?
It not only pops open, but it just starts downloading something automatically for you.
I just made a pretty topical quote tweet that you also go check out at DShivery.
Ooh.
Do you want us to read it on the air?
Podcasting and fibulas, and it's good. No, just on your spare time. No big deal, Dave. You can keep going.
Man, that's a good tweet.
Good tweet.
It just got a retweet from me at Michael Weiner, MICAHWIENER.
Is that from a verified account?
It is, and if you check that verified account, you can get a link to today's Micah's Read of the Week, the newsletter, in which I spent about 5,000 words tearing down that asshole who regretted moving his family from California to Austin. It went viral. Check it out.
Man,
you're now 70 days away
help
from Masters.
My Rhea application get approved, so thank you for that.
Yeah, it'll only help your followers.
Wow. Good luck with your Rhea.
Thank you.
We can do some quick tips now. I don't know if anybody had any time to switch over to golf yesterday. It did get interesting toward the end. You had Patrick Cantlay going out firing a 61. Looked like he might end up in a playoff with Siwoo Kim. Real story here. Siwoo's awesome, right?
Mm-hmm.
Great. Tony Finau, who had the lead after 54 holes, yet another loss, has not won since the Puerto Rico Open. He's kind of a disappointment, and that bums me out because I really like the guy. I love him on the team events. He's a good Ryder Cupper, but the dude does not close. In fact, he's the exact opposite of a closer.
Can you break down exactly what happened? Like, what was the lead looking like? What hole did things start to fall apart?
I didn't watch it that closely, but I think they shoot even par for the day. I don't know. He was basically, he had a chance to, he was like 2 off the lead going into 16 or something, which is a relatively short, a drivable par 5. He wipes his drive. I don't know. It was just, he just doesn't close. You saw it at the Masters, which you can kind of, it's like, okay, you're playing with Tiger at the Masters. Like, we don't expect you to pull that out. But it's happened in a number of just regular tour events, and it's sad because that's kind of the story. He's becoming kind of a modern-day Matt Kuchar, just a top 10
Yeah,
guy.
but it just takes one, you know?
You're right.
It takes one breakthrough, and he's got that monkey off his back, and he can start stacking them.
He's now
That's
posted
how those go.
35 top 10s without a victory, more than twice the number of the next closest golfer, Tommy Fleetwood.
Stacking paper. The bag has been secured.
We love that.
Yeah, he's made $17.7 million
He has not eaten the dub
since 2016.
I need to see him eat the dub at some point
He's going to.
if we're going to take him seriously. I hope so, because he's a good dude.
He started yesterday with the share of the 54-hole lead and then opened with a pair of birdies to take a 2-stroke lead and then ended up losing by 4 strokes.
Okay.
This next quick dip says Brett Favre can EAD. What is that
Yeah,
exactly?
I'll take that
Eat
one.
a donut. I believe.
Brett Favre, you may know him from the Micro Touch commercials.
Copper fit,
and,
too.
the Copper Fit. He was recently quoted as saying the Jacksonville Jaguars shouldn't draft Trevor Lawrence. While he thinks Trevor is a great quarterback, he doesn't see that as the Jags' biggest need, and somebody like Devontae Smith would make a bigger impact on that organization. Nobody asked you, Brett Favre. In fact, somebody probably did. Whoever that is shouldn't ask you.
Show me the
talking.
lie, though.
Huh?
Show me the lie.
It's the worst take of all time. Nobody. Devontae Smith's a good wide receiver. You're not taking a wide receiver 1 overall. Last time that happened was Keyshawn Johnson, who obviously panned out, but you're not going to the Super Bowl off of 1-1 wide receiver. Not happening.
Brett
That's all I
also
have to say on
said,
that.
quote, "There's no way the Packers would do anything to jeopardize losing Aaron Rodgers." Well, that's good other than using a first-round pick to draft his eventual replacement and then trading up to get that guy.
Dude, he's the Jordan Love is the Aaron Rodgers of the Brett Favre era. Like the exact same thing happened to him.
Call him J Love.
I'm not calling him J Love. No. How about just J Lo? You do that too.
Can I just say that when I saw that Brett Favre had said something dumb, like that's how it was billed on our run sheet, I was thinking, oh God, like I was like, did he finally discover Q? There's a number of things that went through my mind that the directions that this could go, and honestly, like a bad sports take is a lot better than what it could have been.
It is a relief. It is a
That's
relief.
true. We didn't ask his location on January 6th, so that's a whole different story apparently. On the Jordan Love thing, if they drafted Jalen Hurts, somebody whose name we respected a little bit more, like, do you think we'd shit on the Packers as much, or would there be times where people are like, I don't know, let's mix in Jalen Hurts? Like, because it's Jordan Love, I feel like people are like very quick to dismiss it. I don't think that he'll pan out to be Aaron Rodgers quality. I don't necessarily agree with the draft pick, but I still think it's not nearly as atrocious as we get. That's my last thing on that.
When did Brett Favre get into the league? Early 90s, right? So they basically had a
NFL
Hall of Fame
quarterback club game released.
They've had a Hall of Fame quarterback for
Very long time.
a very 30 years. 2 Super Bowls. Okay.
He was drafted in 91. I don't know when he went to the Packers.
Okay.
Because he started with the Falcons.
Right. Okay.
I mean, Aaron Rodgers drafted late first and sat for several years behind Favre. And we'll see what happens when Jordan Love drafted around the same time.
Yeah, we'll
Same
see how it
slot.
pans out for J Love, Dylan.
Went to the Packers in 92. 92 to 2021 is a long run.
We should probably do this. We got to eulogize the late, the great Henry Aaron. Henry Hammer and Hank
Yes.
passes away at 86. Second place all time. Some people's home run king. Depends on how you view the modern
He's
baseball era.
Yeah, the greatest non-cheating home run hitter of all time. There it is.
First all time in RBI. First in total bases. First in extra base hits. First in all-star game appearances. That's not really that great of a stat. Second in home runs. Third in hits. Fourth in runs. Pretty good. Pretty consistent.
Just, yeah.
Consistent being the key word. 538 had a piece, which was featured in Micah's Read of the Week and my obituary for Hammer and Hank. But there is no doubt he's the single greatest, most consistent great player of all time. The statistics are jaw-dropping.
Without having a year over, 25 home runs or something like that?
Well, no, he never hit 50.
Never hit 50,
but he
okay.
never hit. He went 19 straight years where he hit at least 24.
That's what it is. I'm not getting my numbers, obviously.
And he has the highest batting average of any player with over 3,000 hits, other than Babe Ruth, I think.
Not talked about enough how on the record-breaking home run, just 2 random dudes ran out on the field with him and ran the bases.
Just an iconic celebratory video.
It is.
Just a couple random dudes from the stands, just probably drunk.
Yeah, and especially after Hank Aaron said that the year or two that he spent chasing that record were the worst years of his life because of all the racial-based death threats. I'm sure he felt great to just see 2 dudes running after him
Two white
when he
dudes.
finally got there. Yeah, just 2 white guys.
Yeah, like I don't know.
In a pretty contentious time in the South, you know?
Yep.
Better security. That was in Atlanta, right?
Yeah.
Better security, the Braves organization or the Capitol?
It's a toss-up, Dave. I don't know.
Who you got?
An underrated part of that
Best
video,
series-
though,
best of
is
3 series.
I got tackled jumping down to the floor at a Korn concert. Okay? And there's like
What? We trying to mob?
we were rushing the stage. I got out of it, but still.
You should have told him you were with Huckabee.
I'm with Head. I'm with Brian Welch. Nobody gets that.
Obviously, sad news.
full government on head.
I'm sorry.
By all accounts, a greater person than he was a baseball player. Very cliche statement, but the man absolutely lived out his legacy with, as much respect as you possibly could look for. I think there's a lot to be said for the city of Milwaukee and, the number of mega stars they've had there in the early parts of their career and what it's meant to them to try to keep them and try to keep them happy and wrestle with who they are as, their identity versus who the players want to be and become. I'm speaking more of Lou Alcindor at the time, going on to be Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and then obviously Hank Aaron, and then you've got Giannis's career kind of developing, but in a completely different time and mindset, and him locking it in. So, just a ton of layers. Obviously, the man meant a lot to the game of baseball, but I would say more to just the culture and who we are as Americans. So,
I heard a funny story today. Did you know he was a huge Cleveland Browns fan? And he, in the 80s, after his playing career had ended, he would just go to games by himself and sit in the dog pound, and nobody knew who he was. And then finally, like, the owner got wind of it and was like, "Hey, we can get you up in a suite or something." How funny is that? You just got Henry Aaron just hanging out in the dog pound.
because of Jim Brown, I assume.
I don't.
Is he
really
from the
know.
area? Where's he
No,
from?
he's from Georgia, I
Oh, is he?
believe. Yeah. I don't know.
Or Alabama, I think originally, but then somewhere down there.
I don't. I
You
just.
do a thing.
Hammer and
I'm
Hank
sorry.
just love dogging down.
Okay.
What is Q2? Aside from a period of time in which you've got to make sure the numbers look good.
Yeah, it says here Austin FC unveils Q2 stadium name.
I believe it's Q2 is a local software company.
Of course.
Did we not bid on the name?
We did. I mean, $500 was never going to be seriously
Oh,
considered. I tried to give him some Bitcoin, like 0.016 of a Bitcoin, but just wasn't enough. Apparently, Q2's got a little bit more cap to play with. So
Yeah, Q2 Holdings, an Austin-based digital solutions provider.
that just sounds like wealth.
Q2?
Q2 Holdings.
Holdings.
I mean,
if you're gonna put holdings in the name of your
You're doing
your
well.
enterprise,
You're
That's
doing
tight,
very,
yeah.
very well.
you gotta have money to throw around.
Washed Holdings isn't a bad idea.
I don't hate it.
I shudder to think what the QAnon people are going to think about this.
Well, they think that the United States is actually not a government; it's a corporation that it's filed for bankruptcy. I don't know if you saw that. We don't have to go down that road.
I missed that one.
Excited for the 19th president.
I just, this stadium was built on a landfill, and so the conspiracy theories were probably spring.
Dylan, have you picked up your kit yet?
I have yet to acquire I can't use the word kit. I'm sorry. I've yet to acquire a jersey.
Just call it a kid.
I can't call it a kid.
I almost
and I
got
can't
him
say
to say
pitch, referring to the field of play. Can't do it, Dave. It's a soccer field.
Only kit he knows is Knight Rider's car.
Only kid I know is on The Bachelor, which airs
Okay.
tonight.
I bet she's on Raya.
She's definitely on Raya.
You know what we're talking about, Micah?
I don't.
Okay.
It's a
Maybe
dating
so.
app for influential people.
Oh,
which
okay.
I have applied for, and it's pending. We'll see what
I see.
happens.
I thought that was a Bachelor reference.
Well, we tied them together.
Sure.
Yeah, we married it well.
It was good.
Yeah.
Any other quick dips?
It's time to run it back.
You guys want to run it back?
Let's run it back.
Let's run it back, Micah.
Run It Back is the segment in which we talk about what we've already talked about. KJ looks great today on camera in his charcoal cardi. Call the hotline at 833-371-DIP, D-I-P-P. We are now known as the Daddy Dippers. Dylan does badly in heat. He loves snow, so he'd like to play in the cold.
A lot of people know that.
KJ wants to be and should be the face of pickle juice in America. If your pee has too much alcohol in it to freeze, frat on, good sir. Micah, yeah, Micah is generally not that into cheese. Jordan Love would have scored on that third down play. Dylan and Cole Beasley both broke their fibulas. Dylan has turned on Conor McGregor. Jolt Cola has just way too much caffeine in it. Dave blew out his shit while hitting the stanky leg.
Oh, man. It's true. That's tough.
Too Much Dip wants to be the most invasive pop-up advertisement on crack streams. If somebody can help us
You
do
just
that.
have to subscribe when you click it.
Brett Favre can eat a donut. Dave once got tackled at a Korn concert.
It's true.
Hammer and Hank just love dogging down.
That's your own joke.
It's so stupid I had to include it. And Dylan has yet to acquire a kit.
What do you have against kits?
The word kit, like every other sport, we just call it a jersey. I guess hockey has sweaters or whatever, but it's a jersey. Don't get too cute with it.
Just love dogging down. Where does that... You're so proud of yourself. I can't even get mad. Well, guys,
You're in the dog pound, baby.
little announcement. No live stream this Thursday, but
Dude, I got a ring light. What are you talking about? I just got a ring light.
use it for your Voya pick or whatever. Faya.
Oh, yeah. Raya. That's a good idea, Dave.
Good. Anyway, what was I going to say? Oh, we're doing the Tiger doc. We're going to do a podcast solely devoted to Tiger, now available on HBO. We're going to be recording that Thursday. Look for either a Thursday night, Friday morning release. I think you're going to enjoy it. I would go check it out. It's 2 parts, well worth it. And that's all I got, guys.
Okay, good stuff.
We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
I want my chips with the dip, that's all I know. I don't want my chips plain, I want my chips with the dip. So bring them dips.